Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wow Podcast, a place where we like to connect with people from our own community to get inspiration and get to know them a little bit better. Guess what? Today I have a very special guest. He's my boo boo, and he's here today joining us. So you guys get to know a little bit more about him and what he does and where he gets his inspiration from. Just to give you a little bit of background on him, he is an interior designer. So he literally designs homes and residential spaces and commercial spaces also. That's so cool because I don't know about you, but I really indulge into looking at magazines and Instagram stories about interior design. So we have our own interior design in our family here at the Wow Studio, and we're going to interview Andres today and ask him different questions about where he gets his inspiration from, along with other things. And I'm sure you're going to love this episode. So without any further ado, here's Andres. Welcome.
Thank you, my love.
How's that
Feel
introduction?
amazing. It makes me feel even better. I'm
Well,
very happy to be here.
awesome.
Very humble. I'm very proud of what you're doing.
Thank you.
This is a great project.
Thank
I
you.
feel wow.
Yeah, well, that's why it's
Fuck,
called a Wild Podcast,
baby.
for sure. So, because, it's not that you make me nervous, but I have some
You're
I have some questions here
you look
because
beautiful, by the way.
thank you, babe. Your hair looks on point. Thank you. I love it. All right. So, Darlita, just so you know, she's in the back helping us with the cameras. And like always, just bear with us because this is something new for us. So just enjoy the ride. By the way, please subscribe. We really want your support. Like I've said in the past, we really don't know where this podcast is going to take us, but it's going to take us somewhere. And we need your support for that. Okay. So, Andres, let me ask you a few questions. Are you nervous?
Never.
Are you sure?
No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes I get a little nervous.
Why?
It's part of the excitement. Because it's part of, emotions.
Okay.
I love it.
Are you nervous right now?
No,
So I can ask some deep questions.
feels very relaxed.
Are you sure?
My home.
Okay.
I'm with you.
All
Feel great.
Okay. Awesome. So, babe, tell us a little bit about you. A lot of people see you on Instagram and my stories, and they follow us. You gotta know that you have a following. People are like when they come here to the salon, and Darla knows. Just yesterday, I was talking to a client. She's like, "Oh my God, how's your boyfriend doing? And where is he working now? And what is he doing? Like, everybody's so interested in
Pretty
you."
much getting back into social media because of you.
Oh, really?
You get me pumped. Yeah. And like it's time to get back in Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all these platforms
That's
just
awesome.
to expose a little bit more of my work behind the scenes. And I feel happy, excited. We're doing a couple of projects here and there. So
Okay.
we'll
Well,
see.
for people who really don't know, because they've only seen your face, but they really don't know what you do, can you tell everyone what is it that you do and where do you get your inspiration from?
I'm living a dream. That's what it is. I tell everyone, as silly as it sounds, my job is like a hobby. I get to enjoy every second of it, and it doesn't feel like a job, like a responsibility per se.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it. I was blessed enough to choose the right path in my career as an interior designer, and I got lucky with doing what I love to do on a daily basis. I deal with a lot of customers. I design custom homes, and I specialize in modern, slick, beautiful, cozy home interiors. And I pretty much try to stick to using the best companies, like the best products. I mixed a lot of colors, textures, and the whole concept behind the scenes, the whole concept of building a home is building memories.
Mm-hmm.
Developing ideas so that they eventually become a piece inside your house.
That's awesome. Why, out of all the careers, did you decide to pursue this one?
I think it comes from my father, who, as a child, I used to witness my dad draft construction documents at home, late nights.
Why? What does he do?
Well, he's an engineer. He's
Mm-hmm.
both a civil engineer and a structural engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So we were always exposed to construction and obviously my dad's work as an engineer. So it was the typical setup in the living room with the drafting table, the humongous blueprints, and my dad telling us to go to sleep because it was late at night.
Yeah.
And we were like pretending to go to sleep, like Omar and I. and then sneaking out of the bedroom to see what he was doing. And I would see my dad all day, all night drafting construction documents. And I was always wondering what all these lines, all these the blueprints, what are they really tell? What are they for? And eventually I got very interested in architecture and construction because of my dad. And eventually I got into the School of Architecture at the
Nice.
University of Miami, where
Go
I found
Hurricanes.
my calling. And I'm like, this is it. This is exactly what I want to do. I want to be an architect. I want to be able to design buildings, cities, and travel all over the world and just get a little piece of the beauty of it.
Well, that's awesome because with having an architect background, I'm sure it opens a lot of doors for you. Now, you're doing something slightly different now because you went to school to be an architect, but now you focus on interior design. So,
I did practice architecture for 5 years and I
huh,
loved it, but I got into interior design as a pure accident.
how is that?
I was given a project in the Bahamas in Grand Cay at a private resort that we were designing, and all of a sudden I was in charge of selecting materials, designing a few bathrooms here and there, and choosing colors, something that I wasn't really into like in detail. I was more in the grand scope of the site plan, the project per se as an
Mhm.
architect. And then I was doing the micro design of the project, which is interior design, selecting materials and doing the layouts of small areas in the house. And I fell in love with it. I was pretty much mind blown in the sense of the design aspect. I was very excited about getting into colors, materials, textures, all the little detail about where to place the plumbing fixtures, the lighting fixtures. And I was fascinated about it. And then ever since I started doing that, I'm like, wait a minute, I need to shift from architecture to interior design. And it's been a dream ever
And
since.
how is
Happiness
that?
level got all the way to the sky.
That's awesome. And how is that at that moment when you realize, oh my God, I love this? I kind of like feel like I want to lean a little bit more towards interior design and do a little less of architectural work. How was that transition for you?
It was great. In fact, it hasn't been too apart from each other because I do tend to demolish a lot of walls and redesign the interior architecture of the building. So they do go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Obviously, I do specialize in the design of the interior space, but I do mix it up with the structural as well. So I still practice a little bit of architecture
Hmm.
there when it comes to the project. Um, but yeah, it's just is it's surprising in the sense of going to school for 5 years and investing so much money, so much time to become an architect, and then eventually transition into an interior design role, which is still within the same field, but it's
Hmm.
slightly smaller branch within the field.
So, for instance, say for maybe some interior designers out there that are looking and they're trying to get ideas or trying to break into this um, field, do you find that having that architectural background impacts your work
Oh,
now?
absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I'm one of the few designers out there, especially in California, where I do the entire home renovation. Talk about the movie theaters inside the house, the lounges, the living spaces, the custom kitchens. I renovate the entire structure of the building. Um, it does serve as a foundation because it gives you a better understanding of how everything works.
Of course.
The ceiling, the bearing walls, the columns, the entire structure of the building definitely gives you a better scope of work, a better understanding of what needs to be done. So it gives you a lot more responsibility, but it makes me feel a lot more confident of what needs to be done since I have that background in architecture.
And that's a big peace of mind for a lot of your clients that
Mhm.
they know that you know what you're doing. You don't have to, ask for help outside because you already know the field,
I
already know
think
the
that's one of the main
structure.
reasons why clients reach out to me because they know that I have done both.
Mm-hmm.
in the construction field.
That's awesome. And you do, and I've been, guys, the stuff that he does is amazing. Like I've gone with him to a few of his job sites. It's ridiculous. It's so amazing. It's ridiculous. Uh, but
We went to that job site in
in
Calabasas.
Calabasas, I
That
mean,
was stunning.
if you don't know where Calabasas is, okay, for all of us who are like Kim K fans, just, this girl lives around that neighborhood. But anyways, it's amazing. What is your favorite thing to do? Because that was a residential project, but
Going to
you
job
also
sites is probably one of my favorite things to do. If
no, but
there's like that job site in Calabasas, when I first got started
yeah.
in California, I was driving through PCH from Marina del Rey to Malibu on PCH and just seeing the mountains on the right side and the blue ocean on the left side just blows your mind. It's like living a dream.
Wow.
So going to job sites is probably my favorite thing to do.
I was That's amazing, but my question was more like what was your favorite, residential or commercial?
Residential for sure.
Residential. Well, yeah.
The
And
feedback I get from families when the project is completed is just priceless.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And for some of you, well, he's mentioning California and you don't know, but he's been in California for the past 10 years. And but he's also done a lot of projects here in Florida. One of them being, and I know a lot of our clients are going to be so happy to hear this because I talk to you guys and I mention this and everybody tells me, oh my God, that's my favorite place. He designed the Big Dog Ranch in West Palm Beach. Can you tell us a little bit about that project?
I helped out with the beautiful project of the Big Dog Ranch Rescue in Laxahatchee. It's still my favorite project of all.
Wow, that's
I'm back in
amazing.
town, baby. Yes. That's by far my favorite project of all. I was lucky enough to work with Laurie Simmons, with this lady who has a great vision behind rescuing dogs. And I witnessed dogs being rescued from Miami before they got euthanized and taken to this doggy resort in West Palm Beach area.
Wow, what a
And
change for
yeah,
them.
that was absolutely stunning. We got to design a whole complex only for dogs, and it's subdivided into puppies, into the vet area. It's just stunning. You gotta check it out.
Definitely. I mean, I know a lot of people, a lot of our clients tell me all the time that they got their rescued dogs from the Big Dog Ranch. And when they say that, I'm like, well, my boyfriend designed it, just so you know. But anyways, let's go back on the residential projects that you do. Because I think for people here in Florida, I don't know because I don't know much about construction. I'm learning a lot from you. But I do mobile services here in our salon. So I do go to a lot of people's homes and a lot of them look a little bit cookie cutter. So, what I'm thinking is now that you are taking projects not only in California, but you're also taking clients here in Florida, how cool is it going to be that you bring that California vibe into all of these new constructions happening or even people who want to remodel? Do you have any ideas, any inspiration on how you're going to make that happen?
Oh, absolutely. Like the California home style is well known for the huge windows, the sliding glass doors, the whole concept of bringing the inside to the outside, right? So
Mhm.
bringing both indoors and outdoors together and creating spaces where a whole family could spend time and enjoy the breeze, enjoy the weather. That I think should definitely be pushed more here in West Palm, in South Florida per se, because we have an amazing weather as well.
Mhm.
So we gotta talk to the developers and be a little bit more minded about the design aspect, a little bit more conscious about opening up the structure of residential projects and bringing the indoors to the outdoors.
Yes, especially in a place where it's sunny all the time. You want to feel like, yeah, some people, when, they're at home, they're working from home, they still want to feel like they have a little bit of that outdoor, feeling to it. So,
And that became even more popular during the COVID time, where we were building outdoor kitchens from left to right everywhere. And I feel like here in Florida, we still got to catch up in that aspect because
Mhm.
at night, we have the nice cool weather with the ocean right next to it. So it's the potential is here.
So from your perspective, coming from California, do you see a lot of potential here
Oh,
in Florida?
100%. It's booming right now. Miami is out of control. They're building skyscrapers like there's no tomorrow. Absolutely.
Do you have a preference into for building either like condos or things in skyscrapers versus like a regular one floor home? Is there any preference for you, or you just adjust to the need?
No, it just, well, it all depends on the map per se. The obviously the suburban area is more towards the outside of the city. The downtown gets to be a lot more urban, and that's where the huge constructions are happening. But I mean, I focus on custom homes
Hmm.
for the most part. That's what I specialized on.
So when people reach out to you, what do you find that is a common denominator for people? They say they reach out to you, you hear constantly over and over again, I want to do what
I'm
to a
known for the
house?
custom kitchens.
Kitchens. Okay.
Everyone they reach out to me because of the custom kitchens.
Hmm.
They want to be able to renovate their kitchen space for obvious reasons. Everyone will gather around the kitchen space. And that's the very first area that a real estate agent is going to be looking into, a real estate appraiser, a mother, anyone who's just stepping into a home. The very first area they look into is the kitchen space.
So let me ask you that, since you said everybody gathers around the kitchen. So do you think, let's say, a kitchen that you design can emotionally impact someone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we do on a daily basis. We go based on emotions, right? Um, the concept behind a space is what is the reason why we want to gather around the kitchen? You want to have your kids being fed all the time. You want to have your neighbors to visit and socialize. So the emotions are always part of it. We, as designers, are the ones who bring those ideas into the job site and make it a reality for you to enjoy it on a daily basis. So
That's
that's exactly what
that's awesome. Now
Mhm.
I'm thinking another part of the house that maybe you get asked a lot about. I'm sure, I don't know if this is true or not, but could it be closets?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The walk-in closets nowadays are becoming way too big. Just recently, the one project I was FaceTiming with you,
Yeah.
we demoed two bedroom spaces to design and build a single walk-in closet.
No way.
So
They got rid of a
so
wall to make the closet bigger?
yeah,
Oh
well,
my god.
two bedrooms
Oh,
became
two
one
bedrooms.
walk-in closet.
The hell? Oh my
So that
god.
was amazing. That was one of my favorite projects. And in this case, this is a big house in Beverly Hills where the kids are no longer in the house, so the two parents are just left alone in the house. And we decided to demo the two bedrooms to build a single walk-in closet. And so
Wow.
that
That
with the
must be,
big
I
island,
mean,
it
I
was
I
very
remember
nice.
you showed me like from in FaceTime, but like I can only imagine how huge that is. So whenever we go back to California, maybe we can swing by to take a look.
Yeah, that was fun. We did a lot of work there.
Let me ask you something. When you walk into a, a blank space, you just walk into a house that literally has not much. What is the first thing that comes to mind? Where do you get the inspiration from? Or I mean, I don't know. I guess it's different for every home.
As soon as I walk into a house or like an empty space, I know exactly what needs to be done. And the very first thing that I look into is natural lighting. If there's not enough windows, there's not enough natural light, that's the very first thing that I focus on.
Mhm.
Because obviously that's gonna light up the whole space. That's gonna make it feel more welcoming.
Mhm.
And I'm the type of designer that will be knocking down walls from left to right
Oh
just
god.
to open up the space. If we need a steel beam to support the loads of the structure, then by all means, and if it needs to be done, we'll make it happen. But I usually visualize everything within 5 to 10 minutes, believe it or
Mhm.
not. And that's why every time I walk into a space, I'm looking at the ceiling, the walls, the floor, where the door is, because you want to be able to design a space that is welcoming, is warm, cozy,
Mhm.
and very functional, right?
So you have your vision, and that's awesome because you've been doing this for a long time. But how do you transmit that to your client? Like, how do you?
Just a conversation like the one we're having right now, where
Mhm.
I ask questions on their needs, what they're looking for, what they have in mind, and based on what I know is gonna be most likely, successful, I'll combine those two themes and then just make it happen. But I usually show sketches, ideas to the client so that they can also visualize it, because they need to be presented with images so they can understand the concept behind it.
Speaking of images, how do you translate that to your client? Like, I know I always say the word wrong. Can you please say it for me? Because
What,
I'm
renderings?
yes, I'm always nervous. I always say it wrong. Can you explain what that is so
That
somebody gets a little better idea? Because people like me who have no idea about, I know a little bit now because I'm dating you, but people that are might just purchased a home and they don't really know how to choose materials or what to do or what concept to go for, and they can really visualize something. You help them with that, right?
Yeah, so you're talking about the renders,
Mm-hmm.
also known as the renderings.
Uh-huh.
That's how our company got started. We started just creating renders for clients like contractors, developers, and homeowners that wanted to visualize how their custom kitchen was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just an image that gets to be translated into a 3D model
Mm-hmm.
that will show realistic colors and materials
Wow.
for you as the homeowner to understand exactly how it's going to look like,
Oh my,
just to meet your expectations.
that's of tremendous help, I bet, for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because it definitely helps to materialize a little bit
Yeah. And
your
I
vision.
drive I drive my designers a little crazy sometimes because I'm very picky as well. I tend to be very detail oriented. So if the texture within the image doesn't look right and it doesn't look realistic, then I make them go back 2 times, 3 times and render the image once again.
Wow, that's
Mm,
a lot of work, I
yeah,
bet.
but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's just like video games. You're creating the 3D model, then applying the colors, the textures, and just you know rendering the image is what makes it more realistic. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the visual aspect of the project.
Now, we already spoke about your inspiration and what people usually ask you for, and how it comes to life. But there's a working force behind all of that, right? It doesn't happen. It's not like you just visualize it, you say, "Oh, here, this is how it's going to look like." And they're like, you shake hands with them and then it happens. You have to put a whole project together logistically with contractors, with workers, with suppliers. How do you manage all of that?
I love it, and that's what makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite complex, but since I absolutely love it, it becomes something very doable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty straightforward. The way we get together or the way we make a project happen is pretty straightforward in the sense of we conduct several meetings with the clients,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're developers, homeowners, or builders.
Mm-hmm.
We conduct several meetings to come up with the concept. If we're designing a custom home, I'm the one who presents the materials. I present the companies where we're gonna get all the materials from.
Mm-hmm.
I get my designers to present the 3D models so they can visualize the whole project. I provide a specific time frame, detail of the scope of work, and then when it comes the time to submit the drawings to to the city with the purpose to get a building permit, everything is already set up in the sense of all the disciplines within the construction gets on board, and I'm the one who stays with my client from day one to the very last day when everything gets delivered to the house. So I supervise the subcontractors at the job site when it's time to install the cabinets, the countertops, the appliances, the wall cladding materials, the lighting fixtures, the plumbing fixtures.
Wow.
I mean, there's
A lot of
a lot
coordinating.
that goes behind the scenes. Yes.
Wow.
So it's funny because that's what we were talking about before the podcast. That's what most of the people don't get to see because it takes a long time. But it's also a fascinating task because there's a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of change orders, a lot of going over the budget.
I was going to ask you that. For example,
That
here,
happens all the time.
I can imagine. Here, for example, if somebody didn't like their nail color, easy. We just redo it. What happens if somebody changed their mind after committing to something? Like, how hard is it to go back and redo the whole thing?
Well, it all depends on what needs to be changed. We typically have the client submit a change order when is switching the materials of the cabinets, let's say. We make it as clear as possible because we're the one who have to lead the client into understanding the whole process. So we give them a time frame when it's okay to make changes, and that's typically the schematic design phase, right? That's when you can change anything you want, as long as you understand that that's a limited time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Once we finalize the schematic design phase, we develop more design aspects of the project, and then we get into the construction documents and all that good stuff. And that's typically right before we purchase all the materials. So once everything gets purchased, there's no more changes, right?
Right.
Obviously, when things are happening at the job site, that we are, for instance, getting a set of cabinets in the kitchen space together, or in the movie theater that we're in the process of installing the acoustic panels on the walls, we can make a few changes here and there just to satisfy the client because they pay premium, dollars.
Oh, yeah,
So we
yeah.
got to be flexible in that
Premium, the
aspect.
premium sounds expensive.
Sounds fancy. That's what it is.
Is it hard to deal with people's budgets?
Not really. My clientele is amazing.
Yeah.
I have absolutely. I mean, I do have a few complaints here and there, but they're very minor.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, nine clients out of 10 are easy in the sense of they go based on my suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
I lead the way and they just enjoy the process. So I wouldn't say the budget or personalities from my clients are extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty open to having debates or having them, you know, convince me in certain things, but it's doable.
Yeah.
I love it.
What is the one thing, and you started with this from the beginning, what is the one thing that you enjoy the most from what you do?
Probably going to job sites.
Oh, yeah,
For
you
sure.
did say that.
Going to job sites is very inspiring. You know, beautiful property on top of the mountains with the ocean in the background, just it's unbeatable.
Let me ask you something just a little bit more, not so much into the design aspect, but more into your personal side. You are originally from Colombia. You were born in Bogota.
That's right, baby. We're trending.
How and then for the last 10 years you've been practicing in California, even though you do homes everywhere. I mean, right now you're working on a Texas home, you've done some in Lake Tahoe, you've done resorts in, where is it, the Bahamas, and where's the other place, Barbados. So you're international, but how has it been in your industry being an immigrant in this country, being from Colombia, having an accent, which a lot of people find sexy? Be careful with that. But how is it? How has it been? Do you think people like that spice there, or
Oh, I love it.
yeah? You think that's
Absolutely.
played in your
Oh,
favor?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. No doubt.
that's awesome. So if somebody wants to become an interior designer, make sure you work on your accent, okay?
I give private lessons. You're
Oh,
hilarious.
that's hilarious. Yeah. You know what? I think um I want to do another podcast with you, but not so much talking about the interior design aspect, because I wanted to focus this one a little bit more into that so people get to know you. Because now that, we've been doing long distance for a little while and we travel back and forth, and it's a,
That was something else, huh?
yeah, I know. So I want people, that are local, and that, we have Boca, we have Fort Lauderdale, Miami nearby, and maybe they're just tired of the same thing, same design, same interior, you know, what do you bring to the
There's
table?
a lot of cookie cutter designs in Florida. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. It just doesn't make any sense. We gotta talk to the developers.
Okay. So if you're in the market to buy a new home, or you already have one and you want to renovate it or something, I suggest Andres's services. He is amazing. We're going to put his social media so you guys can take a look at some of his work. We're going to ask Hans, our video guy, to write them down on the videos here. But tell people where they can find you.
You could find me at anywhere. No, you just reach out to me through Instagram or my website, Cali Renderings, or in Instagram, Andres Designers.
Okay. All right.
Easy.
Something else that you want to.
Everywhere. Easy to find.
Yeah, from coast to coast, literally.
Projects all over the states, baby.
I know. Um, Anything else that you want to add to that maybe I've missed, or you want to like make an invitation to people to, look into your work, or anything else that you would like to add before we finish?
Just before you renovate your home, look into designers and find the right person or the right team, and just focus on the right companies with sustainable mindsets and more responsible, more like conscious minded type of
Mhm.
people.
Speaking of, before we go, speaking of cookie cutters, I do want to point out something that I didn't say it before, but your favorite brands that you work with happen to be mainly European,
Yeah,
mainly Italian. Do you think
that's
that
right.
is a key factor to having a fresh look into people's homes?
Well, one of the main reasons why I stick to European brands is because they're so detail oriented.
Hmm.
They specialize on the whole experience of using a product. If it's like one of those showrooms that we visited recently, they just focus so much into like the smells, right? Remember? The
Uh-huh.
textures, how comfortable a chair is, a kitchen space, how functional it is. If it's lighting fixtures, how welcoming it looks. So they literally master the design aspect of all of these products, and that's what catches our attention all the time.
Right.
But
'Cause
we're making it happen here in America as well. So
That's
we're
awesome.
bringing the same concept that Europeans master, and we're gonna be doing it here in the States.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Andres, for joining us. I don't think you're going to go too far because we're going to shoot another podcast soon. But thank you for joining us. It's been a true pleasure to have you in the
Thank you, my love.
podcast. You're literally like one of the most special guests that I've had. The other day, I interviewed my mom, who's very special. But
That was
guess what?
amazing.
Guess what? Our microphones were not on. So today we made sure the mics were on. Thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward, I'm sure, everyone, to hear more or see more of our podcast together.
Thank you, my love.
All right, bye.